Okay, so these are the alternative crops, not quite as exciting as the cover crops, but basically trying to understand if we can break up the winter wheat fallow rotation with different treatments to then have an effect on our cash crop. So we can just run through these. Kodiak brown mustard, spring seeded, and actually I should probably tell you some details about herbicide treatments in the alternative crops. So we fall seeded treatments planted that same October 28th. Then the winter peas received 7 ounces of Spartan Charge applied November 1st. And then all the winter broadleaves got a shot of 14 ounces of Assure 2. So that's it for herbicide treatments in this trial. And then spring seeded crops are March 14th. So Kodiak brown mustard. Austrian peas have been a pretty popular standard for folks growing peas in the area. Like, for example, I know Wally Powell is a really big fan of Austrian peas, but here we have an opportunity to kind of look at some different cultivar and variety interactions. We're also trying to understand if the amount of nitrogen fixed is variety dependent. And we've got some very preliminary data that suggests, yeah, different varieties fix different amounts of nitrogen. And then we're looking at that, you know, of course, at both locations. And so even though we have almost twice as much rainfall at the Pendleton location, or at least we did last year, it's not necessarily fixing twice as much nitrogen in Pendleton. That relationship doesn't seem to be linear, which I think is pretty interesting. So we'll continue to take those data this year and have some more solid answers. So winter pea Klondike, I do believe is a release from oh my goodness, I can't remember the breeder on this. I'm sorry. Klondike winter pea, but it.
Rebecca McGee.
Rebecca McGee, is it? Okay, Rebecca's?
I think so.
Okay, sweet. So Klondike winter pea, new release from the USDA. I really like to see it in direct comparison to the Austrian winter pea. So kind of our county standard. Lightning winter barley from Pat Hayes. It looked a little beat up coming out of winter, kind of, you know, a little bit frost tender, but we're already heading out. And again, nice row way coverage, even in our 12-inch row spacing. Golden flax, tiny little plant, pass this around, quite a ways off from flower development. This flax will hang on for, gosh, it could still be green in late July. So we'll see how that goes. Icicle winter pea, and again, evaluating all of these for nitrogen fixation potential as a function of the variety and understanding how those might be different. They're variety dependent at least. And then again, all of this is in comparison to fallow. So at this location, our alternative crops are at a 3-year rotation. So this, within these bicycle flags, this will go to fallow next year, and then will be planted to winter wheat. The rationale behind that is with our alternative crops going all the way to harvest, they're going to be using a lot more water than our cover crops, which we're going to be terminating soon. So giving it that fallow 1 year for completing that soil moisture profile before we go to cash crop. Morton winter lentil, we had such great canopy in the peas that you can't really see the effect of our in-crop herbicides. But with the lentils being such a smaller plant profile, you can really start to see the effect of those in-crop grassy herbicides with our volunteer wheat and downy brome starting to look, you know, like it's on its way out, which is good. But to Corey's point, figuring out these labels it's a challenge. It's a winter project, that's for sure. Okay, last plot I'd like to show you. Safflower. And I'll buy a beer for anyone who can find one that germinated. A tough one. If it did come up, it would be even tougher to harvest. So, am I sad it didn't germinate? Yes and no. So we have, and then again, you know, this is our battle for cover crop germination in this situation, is just beating the downy brome.